wonderful sweet baby. So today we're going to be talking about a Georgia judge by the name of Christina Peterson and how she lost her job after she put the pause on police officers. So this judge by the name of Christina Peterson, she has, pretty much been a judge in Georgia, and it appeared that after an altercation had arose between, I'm assuming, either a family member or a friend, she decided to get physical with a police officer. The thing that made her lose her spot was that she actually broke 20 out of 28 different penal codes that she is supposed to follow while being a judge. Now, of course, Instagram, the different blogs that I read, they didn't list every single last penal code that she did break, but it was a decent amount of them for her to pretty much break over half of the penal codes. She also did this while on camera. Once again, from the information that I did gather, there wasn't much, so I'm not exactly sure if she was intoxicated or not, but it was just a whole lot of going on. So as you could see here, they were grabbing her arm, but that is a part of what they do when they do see you as a threat, and when you are a little bit belligerent and not really acting on what you're supposed to do as far as like following orders that the police officers are asking for you to do. So this is pretty much where everything kind of happened. It's kind of, glary because of the quality of the video, but it pretty much started with, them detaining another woman. Once they were trying to detain this woman, I guess the officers were being quite rough with her. So then that's when Peterson decided to step in. Even though, as you can see, there's several men here on the premise that could have, stepped in if they felt that there was a severe issue. But, everybody else was, I'm assuming, complying rather than trying to escalate the situation. So it pretty much got to a point in which, her wig flipped off of her head. And as you can see now, she's out here with the ball cap on. And even while detained, she was still, yapping her mouth and saying a lot of things to the police officers. And, I believe this didn't really help her case. I think it made it a lot worse. So after gathering a little bit more information, I realized that she was actually in an Atlanta nightclub, which is how all of this happened. So she more than likely was allegedly intoxicated. I'm also reading up that this isn't the first time that she was allegedly in some form of trouble, and that she's been in troubles and things of that nature multiple times. So this isn't even her first time with being in law ethical type issues. So here's my thoughts. I don't feel a bit bad for this woman in no way, shape, or form. I see a lot of, BLK people in the comments section that are actually saying like, oh, well, if this was a YT person, they wouldn't even be going to these extremes. For one, I really don't think that's true because there's been several issues in which, a lot of judges had to step down for their misconduct, and they were YT people as well. Another thing is, if you feel these ways, that that we don't have certain privileges as other people, then why would you continue to push the envelope and test the waters knowing that you're not going to receive the same privileges? This woman had an amazing career. It's not even a job at this point. She had a career. And to be a judge, you have to know a lot of laws. Like, that's past the 8 years of you being a lawyer. That's past you, taking the bar exam and passing it. That's past you doing everything you have to do to even be appointed to be a judge. So my whole thing is, she knows the law. She knows what precautions she has to take. She knows all these codes because these are things that you have to know, like the back of your hand, even to be in those seats and become a judge. I honestly hate to say this, but this is another person, a part of the BLK community, making us look bad. Because honestly, that's all that she did, was made herself look bad, as well as us, a part of this community. it was already a beautiful thing to see that she was a BLK person and she was, in such a high powered position. But to then go and, do some embarrassing things that now cause for you to, just really completely blow it and make yourself look like the ghetto, outlandish, ratchet person that we can be, it's embarrassing. So I'm not going to sit here and defend someone's behavior that knows that they were out doing belligerent and, insane things. And the fact that they're saying that this isn't her first rodeo, allegedly doing these types of things, she knows better. So I'm not going to defend her behavior and I'm not going to feel bad for her. The police did what they had to do to make sure that they detained her for being outlandish and belligerent. And more than likely, the person that she was with was also more than likely being outlandish and belligerent, which is why they, detained the both of them. My whole thing is you shouldn't even be moving like this as a judge. You should be sipping on a cute little martini at a bar where, you're not even associating with people that do behaviors like this. So now you're a judge that's going to need a judge to get you out of a situation where you're going to be judged. So I just think that, the things that I do want you guys to take from this video is when it comes to, consuming any type of alcohol or anything that isn't really good for you and that pushes you to a limit in which it can make you behave like a completely different person, know your limits. And when you've gotten to a point in which you've elevated, I'm not saying, forget where you came from, but all I'm saying is act like you've left where you came from. Especially if the where you came from wasn't a space in which you want to go back to. And last but not least, if you know that the YT people are getting better privileges and they're not going through these things, but as BLK people, you do go through those things, then just think smarter and not harder. And just know that you do have to move appropriately and accordingly so then things don't end up happening to you. Because I hate to say this, but a lot of the times I feel like these instances that come up where we try to play the color game or whatever, I feel like we really just say these things, and in reality we have to own up to accountability. It can't always be the color thing when you really are pushing the envelope to try to act like a certain person. Well, if you're going to act like them in full, thorough, all actuality, because you can't be out here still twerking on headlights, but knowing that the YT people don't do that. So all I'm saying is just move accordingly. And if you can't do what they do, then don't do it. But that's my opinion. What's yours?